Here's something unique about New York real estate market. Over half of all co-op apartments in the United States are here in New York City, where the current balance between existing condo and co-op units approximately 60% to 40%. So it's easy to see what's the difference and how to decide between a condo and a co-op apartment is one of the most common questions I've been asked in my 9 years as a real estate agent in Brooklyn. Much lower price of a co-op unit compared to similar condo is hard to ignore, and at first it seems like an easy choice. But there's so much more details you need to know before you can confidently make up your mind. By the end of this video, you will learn the 6 critical differences from price to lifestyle, and you will get 3 practical tips so you can make your choice with confidence. The first core difference is ownership itself. The ownership structure is the single most important difference because it impacts everything else. When you buy a condo unit, you are buying a real property. You get a deed, just like you would for a house. You own the physical apartment itself. You also own a shared percentage of the building common spaces, like a lobby, roof deck, or the gym. It's a very straightforward concept of ownership. When you buy a co-op apartment, on the other hand, you aren't actually buying the physical unit. You are buying shares in a private corporation that owns that entire building. Those shares then give you the right to live in a specific apartment, which is spelled out in a document called a proprietary lease. Legally, co-op apartment is considered personal property, not real estate, and that fundamental difference is why everything from financing to renovations is handled so differently. The purchase price is the most obvious difference between co-op and the condo apartment. Co-ops in Brooklyn sell for about 20 to 30% less than a comparable condo apartment, and sometimes that price gap is even wider. Let's look at other very important financial factors: monthly payments, closing costs, and assessments. The monthly costs. Both property types have monthly bills. Both have very similar items in them, but they are called and structured very differently. Co-op monthly payment is called maintenance fees. And in the condo apartment, you'll be paying something that's called common charges. So what's the difference besides the names? The number in the co-op maintenance fee looks higher than the condo common charges because it includes more items. Usually these items are building property taxes, building operation costs, utilities for your own apartment such as heat, hot water, and sometimes this bill would include gas and electric. If the building has debt, then your bill will also include your share of underlying building mortgage. The condo common charge includes similar building operation costs like water, heat, common area utilities, cleaning, landscaping, but it does not include your property taxes and your unit utilities. So this is why condo common charges bill is usually a smaller number than in the co-op apartment. With condo unit, you will be responsible to pay directly your own mortgage, your taxes, and your unit's utilities. Both co-op and condo units can charge apartment owners what's called a special assessment. This happens when the bank reserve of your building has not enough money to cover major projects like roof, facade, or elevator maintenance, or if any other urgent and expensive repairs is needed. Here's how the closing costs look like for these properties. Condos almost always costing more to close because condo buyer must pay mortgage recording tax and title insurance. These costs reserved for real property purchase like condo, but not for co-op shares. Because of that difference, co-op closing costs are almost always cheaper. Usually approximately 1 to 2% of the purchase price. Most co-ops require minimum 20% down payment or higher and proof of post-closing liquidity in your account to help you cover monthly payments in case you lose your main source of income. Condo closing costs usually in the range of 2 to 4% of the purchase price and sometimes higher for the new development. But condos are usually much more flexible with financial options, accept lower down payment, and it do not require you to have extra cash reserve. Depending on the property type, the buying process and board regulations are also very different. Buying a condo is a predictable process. You make an offer, you sign the contract, and you work with your bank to close the deal. The condo board has what's called a right of first refusal, meaning they could technically buy the unit themselves, but this almost never happens. The board cannot subjectively reject a qualified buyer, and most condo deals close easily in under 3 months. Buying a co-op unit is famously complicated, long, and unpredictable. Buying a co-op comes with a detailed board package and board interview. You will have to submit your tax returns, financial statements, employment history, personal and business reference letters for board interview. If the board likes your application, they will invite you for the interview. Board interview is a very important step, similar to a job interview, with the goal to verify your finances, reasons for moving, and decide if you're a good fit for the building community. Unfortunately, the worst part about this interview is that board can reject applicants without giving a reason. And that makes process not only much longer, minimum 3 to 4 months, but also very uncertain. The lifestyle will be shaped by condo and co-op respective rules, and the difference in this department are also not subtle. Co-ops are known for having strict house rules that cover everything, from renovations and subletting to pet restrictions. The board has the power to enforce these rules, and since you're technically a tenant under a proprietary lease, the board holds a lot of control. In a condo, you have much more freedom. Since you own your unit as a real property, the board has less power over you, but they can issue fines for violations. But the day-to-day restrictions are generally far more relaxed. Here are some practical examples for co-op apartments. Renovations. Renovations in the co-op almost always require board approval with strict guidelines. Co-op rules regulate noise, flooring, contractors you use, and the hours work allowed in your apartment. Subletting and renting. Most co-ops are very strict, require owners to live in their units first for at least a year before you can sublet your apartment, and limiting how often and how long you can do that, or even banning peer-to-peer ownership. Each prospective tenant that wants to rent your unit must also submit an application and be approved by the board. Pets. Co-ops usually very restrictive and have limits on breed, size, or a number of pets you have in your apartment. Here are some same scenarios to compare with the condo unit. Renovations. Condo give much more freedom for your renovation projects, as long as the building structure and systems aren't compromised. Subletting and renting your unit. Renting out your condo apartment is usually unrestricted. Pets. Condos are usually much more pet-friendly, though some buildings may still have rules. As you can see from these examples, co-ops come with pretty strict rules and make them a tough choice for investors or just anyone who wants flexibility. Condos, on the other hand, give a lot of more freedom, and they're usually a better fit for most people's lifestyle. Co-ops and condos don't just differ on paper, They provide very different living experience. Building character, apartment layout, and amenities have very different feeling that can easily make or break the deal. Co-ops are usually found in older, pre-war or mid-century buildings known for their classic architectural character. With co-op layout, you will walk into a defined foyer with long hallways leading to separate rooms. These layouts tend to have higher ceilings and larger bedrooms. Co-op kitchens are typically separate and galley style, often with windows. In-unit features and building amenities like parking are very rare. It's almost impossible to find a washer-dryer in your unit, and laundry facilities are usually shared and located in the basement. Condos found mostly in newer buildings where the emphasis is on a modern living and open layouts. With condo layout, you will likely to step right into the middle of a combined living, dining, and kitchen space, often centered around open kitchens with islands or breakfast bars. Bedrooms may be smaller than in co-op units, but you generally get more bathrooms and of course modern conveniences like in-unit washer-dryer, central air, and high-end appliances. Amenities such as gyms, playrooms, parking garage, and roof decks are also common in condo buildings that built after 2000 onwards. Overall, co-ops offer that timeless, spacious charm, but with some trade-offs around modern buildings, conveniences, and in-unit features. Condos deliver spacious, sleek, functional layouts and flexibility that fit perfectly with modern lifestyle. Condos have clear advantage when it comes to resale and investment. Selling condos faster, buyer demand is stronger, and high appreciating values draw everyone from end users to investors and international buyers. Newer condo buildings with modern amenities and flexible lending make them popular for those looking to maximize returns and keep options open. That said, co-ops weren't designed as speculative investments. Their board approval process can make selling process slower and less predictable, but co-ops consistently attract buyers who value stability, community, and lower purchase prices, making them a lasting choice for long-term residents. So let's look at the big picture. Choosing between a co-op and a condo apartment in Brooklyn really comes down to what fits your life and priorities. Co-ops give you lower price, classic layout, and a building community. But on the other hand, you will get stricter rules, more paperwork, and less flexibility, especially if you ever want to rent or sell your place. These units best for folks who value stability, character, and a long-term home. Condos ask more upfront and deliver more freedom, faster buying and selling, modern amenities, and a wide pool of potential buyers, from investors to international buyers. If flexibility, convenience, or investment is key for you, a condo is the way to go. At the end of the day, there is no single right answer. It's about personality, timing, and what matters most: space, control, price, community, or future plans. Here's the 3 practical tips that you need to know before you can make your decision. Number 1, know your financial situation before shopping. Talk to your lender about what you can actually qualify for. Remember, co-ops usually require at least 20% down payment and sometimes more. They also have strict financial requirements. Condo buildings allow less down payment and are generally more flexible with buyers' financials. Get pre-approved before you start your search. This way you would know what options are available to you in both price range and property type. Number 2, double-check building rules. Don't just assume you can rent, sublet, or bring your pet. Remember that co-ops often limit subleases and have strict pet rules. Condos are more flexible, but still they might have various restrictions and regulations. Always ask for building policies before you make a decision. Number 3. To get ready for a co-op board interview. Review and memorize your application package so you can answer questions confidently about your financials, job history, and reasons for moving. Treat it as you would a job interview. Dress professionally, be on time, and keep your answers honest, but don't overshare. Let the board lead with questions. Respond clearly and show you're ready to be a good neighbor. And the final note. Don't do it alone. Having local, experienced agent and a dedicated real estate attorney is key. They will help you spot issues, protect your money, and guide you through the process without surprises and setbacks. Thank you.